Hi there. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We left off on a bit of a bad end, sadly. But hey, at least I'll get my health back, hopefully. Okay, retry from the start of the current scene. Sure. Wait, how far back is that? Oh, very well, Counsel. You know the implications. So let me ask you one final time. Yes, my lord. Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the prospector's personal effects? Okay, good. Thank you for asking. Also, this is a perk of taking some time, ending the last recording where I did. I was able to think about it, and at first I was pretty actually flummoxed as to where the disc could be if it wasn't on the inspector. If you recall, there was a strange moment where Gregson was violently shaking Nash Skulkin, if you recall. At the time, it seemed quite strange and out of character. But, knowing what we know now, well, perhaps there was a bit of disc slippage going on in the midst of that, you know? At least that's what I thought. And yeah, again, that's why taking time between recordings can be helpful. So yeah, let's search someone else. Because clearly, it's not between the inspector's fucking buttocks. Yes, the defense formally demands the search be conducted. Well. Don't say you weren't warned. But your typical Nipponese stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough. I got nothing to hide. Very well then. Well, conduct a search of this. Oh, yeah. No, bitch, I didn't say Gregson, now did I? Also, at an important moment like this, Ryunosuke, you can't go with the fucking baby slaps. You need to slap like a man. The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. What? And what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you ordered to search me. No, Inspector. Not you. Somebody else. Hey, what's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it at last, have you, sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational. Be quiet, all of you. Who said that? Oh, it's Iris. Runo's doing what you all told him to do, and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way. Also, I have a fucking gun, and I'm not afraid to cap a bitch. Ugh. Yeah, you tell him, Iris. Someone's gonna stick up for me, even if it's a 10-year-old girl. Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction, and eagerly awaits his next words. You what? Now don't be hasty, my lord. If I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be. Counsel, of whom do you request this search now? Obviously, Susanoo Makodama. Haha, yeah, she's got the disc. She took it with her to Japan, and now you'll never find it. No, but seriously, it's gotta be our homie, our pal, our brosef, our bruv. It's gotta be fucking Nash Skulkin. Nah. Know what I mean, mate? Of, my lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin. Well, I never. Eh? Me? Him? Bleh. Jeez, you guys are silly. Very well then, bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Hold it!
Please, my lord. Inspector? Scotland Yard, that has to object to this search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. Eh? In this courtroom, it's kill or be killed. And only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Dykes? I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Bailiff, carry out the search. Now, Geronimo, I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out! Here, my lord, in the witness's pocket, I found this. Look at that, it's another fucking disc, isn't it? Just like we thought. Good lord, that's another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it. Nothing. Oh, they don't look too pleased. That's the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson? Order. Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself? Gordon Bennett! I mean, just Gordon Flaming Bennett! I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc! Honest to God! Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck was between this witness and this detective, no? Without question, my lord. Then, for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information? Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? It was... yes. I took a photo of it, and that's why I'm looking through it in my papers. Apparently, I don't know. During my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Yes, my flashback papers. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit nothing of the sort. Oh yeah, then we saw this weird, this scene. Well, Mr. Graydon answered my questions. Jeez, look at fucking Nash. He's just fucking being shooken around like a can of beans. The inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently. Yeah, I did and all. I thought me knocker was gonna fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd been born as me brother, I was. Now what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. He'd have certainly turned and grabbed me whistle like that and started shaking me. Why the blazes didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down the station? That's what he said. You ought to write down my ear, all he did. Yeah, it's still throbbing now. The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. That it was. Quite strange. But looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Well, bless my wig! He hid it! Jeez, that's a funny saying. Bless my wig. Yo. But I'm afraid I fail to comprehend the motive here. If the defective detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is according to law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. Yeah? It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. Yeah, apparently he's gotta get those damn discs back, no matter what. Hush, hush. My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT. Strictly hush, hush. Yeah, you know, Bob's your uncle and all that. Hush, hush. Our top secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if that information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under direct orders from the Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. Ah, does this mean he only pretended to attack Mr. Skulkin in order to get close enough to him to slip the second disc into his pocket? So it was all a pretense. Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Admit to it. Yours truly. Please. Mr. Graydon, you can't seriously deny it. After all I've done. I mean, how'd the second disc get in his fucking pocket then, if it wasn't Gregson? Come on, pal, think. Clearly, our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection.
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole? And again, how did it get into Nash's pocket? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yes. I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder? Leaking government secrets? Striking a deal with a detective? All of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. Come on! You what? Come on, man, you can't just be like, oh, no, I ignore, I don't, come on, you can't do that! Jeez, this guy does not want to fucking crack. Like, I mean, we literally showed how it could have happened, and again, the second disc was in Nash's pocket. Like, come on, how you gonna, like, you know, explain that? Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as Scotland Yard Inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. Okay, making deals with guilty people, is that really justice, pal? Come on. I don't know if you know the meaning of the word, Inspector. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions. Bro, what the fuck? Gregson, you're not being very cash money right now. Don't be swayed by his dumb lies and stupid face and his lack of chin, you chinless motherfucker. Don't fuck you, motherfucker. This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, what further evidence do you need? The disc was literally in Nash's pocket. How do you explain it getting into his pocket? Yeah. I believe it is time we put the matter to the jury for their final leadings. Well now, as a federal servant of Queen Country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Oh, you're a shitty judge of character. There's a reason you're a maid and not a fucking, judge. Jeez. I'm a stupid stereoscope lover. Buh. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me. Oh, well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really. Fuck the detective. Gregson, you aren't Gregson anymore. You are Greg Sus. That is your new name. Great honest, highly skilled operator, stop! Currently in presence of idol, stop! Okay, come on. Can I fucking, objection? The jury is fucking biased against me and in favor of the hot guy. Come on. It's not a fucking unbiased jury, is all I'm saying. Can I get a fucking mistrial? Can I get a mistrial and get some jurors who don't suck ass? Come on. Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say. I don't believe it! These 6 jurors are fucking morons! I mean, I should be able to believe that because that's how most jurors seem to be, apparently. They're going to believe Gregson! If they declare their decision now... Also, just, rewind a bit. What does that have to do with Gina, by the way? Like... I mean, yeah, I wouldn't trust Gregson with a 10-foot pole at this point, and whatnot, but, like, it still doesn't really relate to the murder trial, exactly, so I'm not sure if that should really be taken into consideration. I feel like we kind of lost the plot a little bit, just saying. Is Shinny going to be found guilty because they trust Gregson, even though he had nothing to do with the incident? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose, even though I shouldn't have to, because I've already made a pretty damn good case up to this point. Either some proves that Miss Graydon killed Mr. Winterbank, or stole those government secrets. Or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Sorry. Well then, counsel. I think it's time that I pose on the jurors to declare their final decisions, though. That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court. If I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings, Gina will be found guilty. So there's no choice then, Bruno. You have to throw some more evidence at them. Yeah, obviously. This is it now. It all comes down to this. I feel like you said that like it's like the third time you've made that kind of point in this trial. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson? A Gradon? Oh, fuck, I don't know. Okay, I know I don't leave it to the jury, because those are some unreliable motherfuckers who are easily swayed by a pretty face, apparently. Though whether that's Gregson or Gradon's up to you, I suppose. But to present evidence against Gregson or Gradon? That's curious indeed. Let's review the court record again, maybe? Because I'm not sure exactly what I could or can't present at this point in time. Because, like, we didn't even get the second disc as, like, evidence. Or it's not, it wasn't submitted to the court record at any rate. So I can't even, like, I don't have, like, new evidence to just present. It has to be something we haven't shown yet? But again, most of this stuff, I don't see what it... Huh. Heck, once again, I'm kind of perplexed. And confuzzled, and even a bit discombobulated. So yeah, this is actually tricky because now first I have to decide who I should be presenting evidence against, and then also what piece I should be presenting. Let's think about it, right? We presented the box, we presented the coat at one point. Did we present the ticket for the coat? I'm sure we did at some point in this trial. It's been a fucking long day. Again, I just want to point out, like, gee, like, I guess in fucking in Britain, it's like literally one day and that's it. Like, if we can't figure this shit out in one day, then, well, we'll just leave it to the jury to decide. No 2-day trials here, motherfuckers. McGilded? You died. We already presented this, and I don't think there's any new information on it. It's just, you know, ministry secrets. Scotland Yard coroner that confirms instant death due to a single bullet wound from the back. No other signs of trauma. Coroner Dr. Stevens. Who the fuck is Dr. Stevens? Okay, let's re-examine this again. Like, okay, don't we have this? Wait. Let's think. We found the second music box disc, right? So why don't we, like, play this? Like, why don't we play it and see what happens, right? Can't that confirm something? Or like, something? Huh. Who'd have thought that there would be a second movement on the underside of the box? And this movement is like the other one. The comb's teeth are all the same length. So, this movement also only produces a single tone like the other one. Yes, it must do. Except that the length of the teeth on the two combs isn't the same. So the single tone produced by this movement will be different to the single tone we've already heard. What? Basically, each movement can only produce a single note, but the notes they produce are different. A music box that can only play two tones. What is this, Tommy Two-Tone up in here? We've already done the cat flap. The third bullet, I don't think, is relevant at this point. The music, we have the original music box disc for McGilded. Okay, I'm gonna try something. It might not work in our favor. We might not. I don't know. I'm just gonna try it. See where it takes us. Inspector Gregson, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. Eh? Well, what's that then? If you refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today, then you leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly. Well, go on. This is my last chance. It looks like I'm going to have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get this detective to admit to the deal he clearly struck with Radon. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, the music box, we don't have the second disc to present as evidence, but if we present it, maybe it'll like, make him, we'll be like, hey, why don't we play the two discs together and see what it you know, what it had to say, right? So that's my guess. I don't know if that's right, but we're gonna try it. Okay, look at that, we were right. Is that Mr. McGilded's peculiar music box, Counsel? Yes, with the disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well. Yeah, exactly, that's what I was getting at. If we can play both discs at the same time, we can see what what naughty secrets that the detective doesn't want us to hear. Goodness! This disc, Counsel! Hold it! Now, are you mad now, aren't you, bitch? No! Wait! I can't let you do that! Why not? Because it's got nothing to do with this case. That's why. Oh, come on, you know that's a bald-faced motherfucking lie. Not true, Inspector. Eh? The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. Gah! We know that Morse code comprises of two distinct tones. True. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now we have a chance to confirm that theory. For crying out loud, Sunshine! We're talking about state secrets here. If you go let the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason. Then, do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness. Yeah, get his ass, Ryunosuke. Fucking drag him. Piece of shit. You're mad. If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot. Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court. And all because, by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Yeah, fucking get him. Fucking get that motherfucker. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. Man, you fucking go, Ryunosuke. You just, your fucking balls drop something fierce, my dude. Yeah, fuck it. Bring the whole British government on my ass. Do you think I'll give a fuck? Do you know who I am? I am motherfucking Ryunosuke Naruhodo, bitch. Oh, hi, Fanzikes. Sorry you had to hear all that. My lord, if you please, the court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Van Dykes, for Pete's sake, stupid!
Objection!
Oh, fuck yeah, you hit him. Hit him with the fucking leggy. Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Ugh. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law. So let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, my dude. That's some dope dialogue. No! Gaga! Very well. The defense's stance here, and the prosecution have been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. This time, with the second disc in place, and both discs playing simultaneously. Yeah, get fucked, you two. They're mostly Gregson because, frankly, I trusted him to not be a complete piece of shit. Man, that's a sick beat right there. Alright. I admit it. Whatever you want, but for the love of God, but shut that blooming box up. Okay, well, his dialogue went by too fast for me to properly get the intonation right, but okay, you get the gist. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you on the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector? I did. Stop! What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess, and we were stood here in the stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst! You there! Wait, oh, that's him. Okay, that was great, I'm saying. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector. With me, at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. Or information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge. Not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole in the storeroom door, and the bloodstains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that! Yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury. I did. But it turned out the peephole had only been made that night, after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself man? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Winterbank. You... Oh, damn. Traitor! Oh, fuck! Drag him! fucking okay, I mean, choke his ass out. I don't give a fuck anymore. Ugh. Get him. Yeah, fuck you, Gregson. Bailiff! Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once! That's it then. It's all over. Ellipses, ellipses, ellipses. Oh, it's quite a great on. I despised my life growing up. Those slums of vile places. I was cursed from birth. Born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me. So I set about studying, to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. But then you decided to try to sell government secrets, which kind of like dumb. Why exactly? I mean, you don't exactly seem harder for money these days, so I'm not sure why you would do such a thing. TBH. Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out. With more money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. Then, one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Oh, hi. How's it going, man? You're a fiend with a queer talent, so you are. I just wanted to throw you away if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with my little plan now. I was to steal the Ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the Ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The devil's offerings. How easy it is to succumb. But you must surely realize the seriousness of the crime you're committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. By using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagined his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I'd left the slums 10 years earlier. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh? He was a different man to the one in my memory. A thin, frail old man. But poverty had never broken him. Never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made. A music box disc, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I brought the score with me. There are two, actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft. That's how I had him make the two discs. to act as like a decryption. It was like an encryption service, basically, right? That's how I'm understanding it. Thereby splitting the information in two. You were taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in two separate transactions. The first involved the first of the two discs and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Geez, 10 guineas? That's not even a whole... I mean, okay, that's like a decent chunk of change, but it's not like fucking sick amounts of moolah as far as I can gather. I mean, McGilded was offering me 1,000 guineas for being his lawyer, and 1,000 is a lot more than 10, so... I'm just wondering, you know? Then... oh, I see. Then, on receipt of the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas. See, that's when you know you get the real money. That's the real deal. 1,000 guineas, that's when you're set. Because, like, I believe I did a bit of, well, estimations and conversions and stuff. I'm pretty sure 1,000 guineas would be like a couple $100,000 in today's money. So yeah, that is indeed a small fortune. So, what happened on the Omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of a deal. The exchange of the second disc. Okay, so that's why the first disc said for McGilded, because it was made for McGilded, and it had already been delivered to McGilded, I guess. Yes. I'd sold that information that man... I've sold the man information that way a number of times already. But it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Greydon. For why was it that on the Omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded, and not yourself? When I received 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded... Wait, you already got the 1,000 guineas? Wait, okay. Oh, okay, I guess they, had already had dealings before then. I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. 200 guineas, that's a solid chunk of change, for sure. But my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me, "Next time there's an exchange, we'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore." That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Oh, okay, I don't know if I really understand that part, but okay. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the discs I'd asked him to make. He never knew. Sorry, my fucking mush mouth. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore in my father's name to exact revenge. Revenge? Oh. You know, there's a... well, let's see how it plays out. As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine, McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial, The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. That trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. My feet had barely touched British soil back then. And I walked into that hornet's nest, completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I had made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in the city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that. Are you saying that... I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in this courtroom to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. Oh. Yeah. Okay. That makes a little more sense. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. McGilded's death that day was caused by this man? Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Hey, what's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Yeah. Well, I must be making tracks now. Just time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. So that policeman who came to tell McGilded he could examine the omnibus again? That's right. An imposter hired by me. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my Shan policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. A spine-chilling encounter indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded. Yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly, because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Yeah, well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Winderbank's pawnbrokery. Aye, 'tis a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. I put a jewel in pawn for you. It'll fetch a good 10 guineas for you if you sell it, so it will. I'd never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. Hey, it's what Sholmes said earlier in the trial. Or earlier in this case, I mean. So it was. So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Winterbanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial. That pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another of McGilder's pawns. That he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket. So I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline. And he was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to Winterbanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilder's overcoat and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing. Because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilder was involved. Inspector, you've recovered fast from being choked out. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellow's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the music in the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. Oh, that's why. Okay, that's probably why you were so eager to get the disc back, or to get the music box in particular back, because they were investigating his belongings and such, and they would have probably found it out eventually. I had to find those articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I'd located the music box I'd sold to McGilder on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside? Yes. I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Bang! And that's probably where he got shot. A gunshot rang out in the shop, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Bang! Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled to the storeroom door for refuge. A sorry tale. It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Winterbanks on that wretched night. Jeez. What a sordid tale indeed. Oof. That's heavy stuff, pal.
Earlier, you called McGilder a monster.
A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony. For what you have done is exactly the same. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to deny that. You become the very monster you saw, despised so deeply and but guilted. Yes, I think I have. Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon? He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Winterbank, and the stealing of government secrets. Very good. And you, Inspector, regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself. Yes, my lord, of course. It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains, whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime's a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Now, to the defendant, Miss Trina Lestrade. Yeah, I'm here. It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Garradeb's quartered standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push. The final call. The finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts. He's getting pretty worked up about it. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yeah.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yeah.
Not guilty.
Indeed.
Not guilty.
Yeah. You tell him. I still like how that one dude just fucking bonks his head on the button, so you know he doesn't make his gloves non-sterile. Ha ha ha! That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Yeah, we fucking did it. Finally, Bruno. You finally managed to do it. Yeah, finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if he'd come out on top for a while there. And speaking of things that are need to be final, I need to be wrapping up this episode because I'm about hitting my limit. I would like to have wrapped up sooner, but I wanted to make sure I got, like, at least to the not guilty part, right? Or at least, you know, cutting off in the middle of that whole diatribe from Graydon would have felt kind of bad, so yeah. But hey, we finally did it. We did the fucking thing, guys. Good work, team. Iris, you were good. You're not Cesaro level, but you're still pretty okay. Ryunosuke, well, we did our best, and we got the job done. Gregson, fuck you. Graydon, I feel sorry for you, but also Van Zykes was kind of right in his assessment. TBH. Anyway, next episode we will deal with the aftermath of this case, which is the last case in the game, in this first game, by the way, so I assume there'll be some stuff to deal with there, you know, wrapping everything up and setting things up for the next game and whatnot. So, but for now, I'll have to call things quits for now. Until then, though, I will see you around.